Swipe Up, episode 222, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I'm your host, Ray Taylor. James Cameron thinks we need to go back to the theaters. His quote, "When we go to the movies, we make a deal with ourselves to have undivided attention for a couple of hours. It's about immersing yourself, choosing to commit to that ahead of time." I definitely agree with that aspect of it, right? I do agree with that aspect of his statement that when you go to a movie theater to watch a movie, you are far more focused on the movie itself. That is one of the reasons why I loved going to the movie theaters before the pandemic happened. It's so easy, especially watching a movie at home, for you to grab your phone and be distracted by your phone, or, just to pause. But you can pause the movie, so you're not really missing it, but you're definitely not watching it in the same way you would be in a movie theater. But the other side of that is you have a man who has been very successful director for a very long time and has probably not had to think about money in his life for the majority of his life. Like, what money means to James Cameron is very different than what it means to most people today. And the reality of being able to go to a movie theater and to watch a movie is almost a luxury that a lot of people just can't afford. There is a reason why movie theaters, why there's a downturn in the amount of people going to movies. There's a reason why there's only a few movies, a handful of movies that actually do well in theaters. They're usually like event movies, very much like his movie is, Avatar. Here's another quote. "We're saying as a society we need this. We need to go to the theaters. Enough with the streaming already. I'm tired of sitting on my ass." Which, like, that quote is stupid, first off, because you go to the theater, you're just sitting on your ass somewhere else, and you're paying a price to go somewhere else to sit on your ass, right? As a consumer, the convenience of being able to sit on my ass at home without having to pay and drive and go somewhere where the concessions are high priced as well, the convenience of being able to sit and watch and choose from a variety of films and TV, watching these things on a high-definition TV with a surround system, there is far less need to go to a movie theater considering or compared to back in James Cameron's day when he was a bit of a younger lad, when the only way to see new movies was to go to a movie theater. The only way to watch a movie in widescreen with the most crystal clear picture was to go to a movie theater. The only way to have the immersive surround sound experience was to go to a movie theater, right? Up until like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was the 2000s, less like 20 years now, which is still a long time. But 20 years is the only amount of time where you can have a movie theater experience at home. Everybody's got a high-def TV nowadays, so everybody's got their widescreen TV. When they're watching movies, the warning of this movie has been edited to fit your screen doesn't show up anymore. We're watching these movies unedited in their proper aspect ratio, in a lot of cases crystal clear HD. Some people have surround sounds. So easy to get surround sounds. So many surround sounds either in a single box. You can have high-end surround sounds. You can have a sound bar that has surround sound features built in. They have redesigned speakers in a way to simulate surround sounds at home. So you get like 80% of that movie theater experience at home. So that's one major reason why people aren't going to the movie theater. Also, James Cameron has a bit of an incentive to try and convince people to go to a movie theater, considering the future of his franchise relies on them breaking records financially in theaters, which it seems like Avatar is doing. So he's got a reason to want to convince people, but I don't think he is somebody who is completely out of touch with what it's like to be a person living in this country at this time, where it's expensive. The cost of living is high. The rates at which businesses are paying people a living wage is pretty high as well. There's not a whole lot of jobs willing to pay people a living wage. Everything is going against what the reality James Cameron wants, but he just thinks it's a laziness issue. And it's insane. I just think he's completely out of touch, right? I mean, yeah, you get a better experience when you're in the movie theaters. I prefer watching movies in the movie theaters. If I could walk to a movie theater and pay, like, sign up for Regal Unlimited like I had before the pandemic, and there was a Regal theater within walking distance, I would still have that service, and I would try and watch as many movies in the theater as I could. But that's under very specific circumstances. I don't have the ability to drive right now, right? I'd have to borrow a car to go. I'd have to have somebody take me. But even if I did have a car, gas prices are ridiculous. If I didn't have a subscription service, buying a movie ticket I could have, for the price of one movie ticket, I can pay for a month's subscription of a streaming service that gets me access to hundreds of movies and TV shows. So I can watch a single movie one time to get this experience that is better, or I can pay for a month of Netflix that will give me hundreds of options of movies and TV shows that are good. Are there some bad ones? Sure. But I could go to a movie theater and watch Avatar 2, which I have not seen yet. Like, I could go and, where you get the 3D where I got to put glasses on, and I could have a horrible experience. And I could have just wasted a ton of money that I would have been much more happy spending on a streaming service. So it's just ridiculous. Like, he's got this mindset of somebody from like the 80s or 90s where that reality just doesn't work. And he's a guy, when the first Avatar movie came out, that was trying to push 3D again, right? Where TV manufacturers were coming out with 3D TVs. Imagine that, sitting at home, putting on glasses to watch a movie that, by the way, very little to no content in 3D at that time. I sold electronics at the time of the first Avatar movie. I saw the insane trend where almost every TV had like 3D capabilities. Some TVs, the glasses were battery powered. Imagine watching a movie, first off, heavy glasses because there's batteries in it, right? Watching at home, you got to put these battery powered glasses on that had shutters that would shutter one eye at a time, right? That synced up with the TV. That's how that 3D worked. Imagine watching a movie and your glasses dying and having to, first off, needing enough glasses for everybody that's going to be watching that program, that movie, right? The one of 3 movies that are available in 3D. having enough glasses, and then just one person, my batteries died. So it's either, okay, you can't watch this, or we're all just watching this in 2D now. Like, it was the dumbest thing. Or you put on the polarized glasses, right? Some of the 3D TVs, you wore polarized glasses, which are similar to what you wear in a movie theater, which suck, which is one of the reasons I hate going to 3D movies in a movie theater, because I have bad eyesight and I wear actual glasses. So I have to wear these sunglasses that make everything darker on top of my prescription glasses to watch a movie that is basically, Fern Gully. It's just ridiculous. It's like, there were so many, that trend ended up ruining so many movies that were like the Avatar movie that M. Night Shyamalan made, right? Based on the cartoon Avatar. One of the reasons why that movie sucks so much, they cut so much of that movie out, is because they had to follow the trend of post-converting every movie into 3D. And because it would have taken so long, they had to cut big chunks of that movie out. The original IP that used Avatar, that's another thing that the Avatar franchise from James Cameron ruined. Right? James Cameron is responsible for so many of the worst trends in movies and in technology, and now he's complaining about the convenience of watching something at home because he needs people in order for him to continue to make these ridiculous movies. It is required that billions of people or billions of dollars are spent, which can only happen if they go into a movie theater. And going to a movie theater is the only way to experience these movies, the way he intended. And even that, most of the movie theaters that are displaying this Avatar 2 aren't able to do the things that he specifically did with adding, higher frame rates to certain scenes, and other scenes aren't. Like, it's just ridiculous. The standard that he expects everybody to fall in line to follow along with. It's just ridiculous. So I don't know, James Cameron. The first Avatar, like one of the first podcasts I ever recorded way back when the first Avatar came out, that we reviewed, me and my co-host reviewed it. We talked about it, and it was like one of the only podcasts that my recording equipment died while recording, and we had to re-record. It was like a 3-hour long podcast, and my stuff died. I was like, I think we need to record, and they decided they stuck around to record that episode with me again, and it was a cool experience. It was cool looking 3D, but the story wasn't memorable. I've never watched the movie since that one time watching it in a movie theater. Mainly because the coolest aspect of it, the 3D aspect of it, is nearly impossible to get at home. So this sequel that comes out over a decade later, I am not at all excited. And I've heard mixed reviews of it as well. I'm sure I'll watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus or whatever, but not at all excited about Avatar. I like James Cameron movies. I don't think just because he's like the most successful director in the history of movies, right? He's got like more movies that have grossed over like $1 billion than anybody. But popularity doesn't mean quality to me at all, right? He's a very popular director. He understands how to communicate with a mass audience, right? And part of that is doing really generic things that are relatable to a mass audience. And, at some point I'll do a James Cameron top 5 and go through and watch his movies, because he hasn't directed a ton of movies. And they're great. I love Terminator 2. He does good movies, but with the Aliens franchise, he turned a sci-fi horror film into an action movie. That's what he does. Terminator 2 which I think he did the first Terminator, but turned that into an action movie, right? He just turns things into action movies I don't know. It's like I don't hold him at the same esteem that so many others do. But whatever. Don't agree with his opinions. For majority of them, I mean, I agree that going to a movie theater is the best way to watch a movie, but I don't think it's as accessible as it is. And, convenience and price are big contributors to what I do with my time.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.